I didn't realize that's not fair. But my TARDIS doesn't work properly, and I don't have my own personal tailor. You just want cruelty to beget cruelty. You're not superior to the people cruel to you. No. You're just a whole bunch of new cruel people. A whole bunch of new cruel people that are being cruel to some other people that'll end up being cruel to you. The only way anyone can live in peace is if they're prepared to forgive. When you win, when you finally have the homeland free from humans, what's it going to be like? Have you thought about it? Have you given it, any consideration? Because you're very close to getting what you want. What's it going to be like? Are people going to be allowed to go to work? People live in houses? Will it be holidays? I'm particularly fond of the violin. Do you think people will be allowed to play music? Violin, even. Who's going to make the violins? You don't actually know, do you? Because just like every other tantruming child in history, you don't actually know what you want. So, let me ask you a question about this brave new world of yours. When you've killed all the bad guys, when it's all perfect and just and fair, and you finally got it exactly the way that you want it, what are you going to do with the people like you? How are you going to protect your glorious revolution from the next one? You'll win. Maybe, maybe you will win. But nobody wins for long. The wheel just keeps turning. Why don't you break the cycle? And we're off. Fingers on buzzers. Are you feeling lucky? You ready to play the game? Who's gonna be quickest? Who's gonna be luckiest? Oh, it's not a game, sweetheart. And I mean that most sincerely. Because it's not a game. This is a scale model of war. Every war ever fought right there in front of you. Because it's always the same. When you fire that first shot, no matter how right you feel, you have no idea who's gonna die. You don't know whose children are going to scream and burn. How many hearts are going to be broken? How many lives shattered? How much blood will spill until everybody does what they're always going to have to do from the very beginning? Sit down and talk. Listen to me. I just want you to think. Do you know what thinking is? It's just a fancy word for changing your mind. Then you'll die stupid. Alternatively, you could step away from that box. You could walk right out that door, and you could stand your revolution down. You're all the same. You screaming kids, you know that? Oh, look at me. I'm unforgivable. Well, here's the unforeseeable. I forgive you. After all you've done. I forgive you. I don't understand. Are you kidding me? Of course I understand. I mean, do you call this a war? This funny little thing. I fought in a bigger war than you will ever know. I did worse things than you could ever imagine when I close my eyes. I hear more screams than anybody will ever be able to count. You know what you do with all that pain? Shall I tell you where I put it? You hold it tight till it burns your hand, and you say this: no one else will ever have to live like this. No one else will ever have to feel this pain. Not on my watch. And scene. That was from Doctor Who, Season 9, Zygon Inversion. The famous Zygon speech by Peter Capaldi. Well worth a listen to, a million times better than me. But I did this take like at least 4 times now. And each time, I kept, no matter how much better I got, kept doing it as if I were reciting the lines as Peter Capaldi. Even whether I had the accent or not, the cadence and stuff were still there. So as I did this, I risked doing not as good of a job as I feel acting-wise, because you can't do that with Doctor Who. It's a very specific thing. You can't act out somebody else's doctor. I can't act out David Tennant. I can't act out Christopher Eccleston. I can't act out my favorite Matt Smith. You can't act out Jodie Whittaker. You can't act out anyone, because they each bring something unique to the world. So as I tried sitting here in my car like an absolute nerd trying to do this for a solid 4 times, I had a realization. I could risk doing an inferior product, but be me. And I tried my best to make this be more of what, if they hired me, which they wouldn't, but how would I have done this speech, not how Peter Capaldi would have done it. And for all intents and purposes, as a man doing this on a whim, it's out of the blue. I mean, yeah, I did it 4 times, but still on a whim, and with no direction. I think I did fairly okay. But it's one of my favorite speeches in all of Doctor Who, and it's, if you've not watched this show, do yourself a favor. Go watch it, please. You can start with the reboot, make your way back in the classic Who once you get through that, but it is worth it. It's worth your time. And there's many good speeches like that. A lot by Matt Smith, David Tennant, Christopher Eccleston. Everybody lives. Everybody's got something. But, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it a ton. Don't forget to subscribe. And you're all the same, you screaming kids. Talk more. Fight less. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Goodbye.